Hello. Welcome to a special Get At Gaming Plus podcast. I am Alex,
I'm Ben.
and we are a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about just anything. We want to talk about movies. We'll talk about movies. We want to talk about video games. We'll talk about video games. But today we are here to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. No, not the one with Ben Schwartz. Not that one. Um,
John
unfortunately.
Ralphio?
Yeah, John Ralphio. Yeah. He's the worst. Um I love it how he did that in like it was either Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 because he's like that guy is the worst and he like did the thing. It was so
If you
good.
ever watch the Parks and Rec, when he does it to people, I
Yeah.
don't think they're expecting him to get so close to him.
Yeah. Especially what's his name? Adam Scott, because I feel like Adam Scott just always like freaks out. Like I think it's genuine. Like you
Oh,
said.
it's very the one where the one guy opens the one store
Oh yeah.
and thanks for hiring my sister because she's the worst. And then he does the it's the worst in him.
Yeah.
And like he falls over, Adam Scott falls over, and I'm like, that looked real. That looked very uncomfortable and real.
Yeah. You know what else is uncomfortable? Not this episode of the Get At Gaming Plus
Never.
podcast. You can find us on YouTube .com/Get At Gaming. You can find us there. You can find all of our podcasts. You can find this as well. This is a special YouTube only thing. So you will not see this on audio services. But if you want to go to audio services such as Spotify, you can go spotify.com and search for Get At Gaming. I don't think we have an official like weirdo link thing, so you can just look for us and hopefully you find us. If you don't, go to any of our descriptions in any of our videos and you can click on us there. There should be a weird like bunch of letters and numbers, link that goes directly to us. So you can go find it there. But today, again, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, also known as the 1996 OVA 2-episode series. This is the series that came out in 1996 as 2 episodes. Came out in January 26th and March 22nd. This movie is roughly based on Sonic CD, I would say. Sonic CD came out in like 93, I think that's what I wrote down. Yeah, 93. And so maybe they were pretty inspired by that. Because this movie, we'll get into spoilers and stuff later, but this movie mainly focuses on Metal Sonic, Hyper Metal Sonic in this movie. And Metal Sonic was first introduced in Sonic CD. There's a lot of time travel elements. There's warping, and Amy Rose is in that. There is no Amy Rose in this at all. It's mainly just some original characters and the trio, the Sonic Heroes. This released by ADV. ADV Films. They released this in 1999. I have written here on VHS and DVD. I don't know if they both came out at the same time on VHS and DVD because I know there's 2 different types of DVDs. Um, but it came out in September 7th of 1999. It was close to the release of Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. And so they just wanted um, something to celebrate it and like make you, uh, I don't know, just celebrate Sonic, I guess. Like these
Yeah.
these episodes have been out for a while in Japan, so might as well do what they did. They cut it into a movie, so they cut out the openings and endings, um and just kind of made it just one entity. And so the runtime is approximately like an hour long. I'd say like 50-55 minutes or so, maybe a little less than that. So as I said, there are 3 different releases for it. There's a VHS copy. ADV back in the day had VHSs that were white for some reason, so they were just white VHS I don't know why. Do you remember those at your days in
Yeah,
Suncoast?
yeah. I remember. God, what was it? There's a couple of like
Like
movies that were.
Evangelion and stuff like that
Yeah,
had them too.
yeah. We were when I started working at Suncoast, we were phasing out the VHS. We still sold it, but we were mostly kind of like really working towards those DVDs. But I remember a lot of the anime were like white.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that was a thing for ADV, mostly. So, your Neon Genesis Evangelion, I don't know who else, maybe Tenchi. I don't know who owned that kind of stuff at the time, but this especially. Um and yeah, there are 3 releases. There are 2 DVD releases. I have one of the DVD releases here. This release is the ADV Kids version, and it looks like this came out in 2004. Um, so it's a later release. It has the disc, it has a little insert. Funny enough, like this insert doesn't have like chapters or anything. It's just nothing.
they're
Which,
like, this is good enough for kids.
yeah, I mean, to be fair though, what would you do for chapters in this? I don't remember exactly how they split up chapters in this, if they do at all, because I've really only watched this once or twice on this DVD. The other ways I've watched this, and you can too. You can just find it on YouTube. Just look it up on YouTube.
That's what I
Sonic
did.
the movie, Sonic OVA, and it's there. It's dubbed, which is the version that we're going to be talking about today. But it's there, so you can watch it. You can watch it over there if you've never watched it before, and then you can come back at this point and um, you can listen to us talk about it. But first, we kind of want to do a spoiler-free first impressions of this movie. I've seen this movie. I owned this on VHS when I was a kid. Like this was a thing that I let people borrow back in elementary or middle school days. I'm bringing this on the bus. I'm putting it in my backpack, and I like let neighbors or like people on my bus route, like my friends, people who I'll see, borrow this movie. um so I've seen this movie quite a lot of times. It's very memeable. It's something that the Sonic community seems to enjoy, but you've never seen this movie before. So what were kind of
No.
your first impressions, spoiler free impressions, I should say? And then we
Um,
can get into like the actual plot and stuff here in a bit.
yeah, sure. So I think some of the ones that the parts I really liked, I thought the animation was done very well. Um, and I think I told you when we talked about it the first time, I love that it is like old school like anime. Like like it kind of made me feel like the funny parts in action anime, like Naruto or Inuyasha, some of the parts that were meant to be funny,
Hmm.
it felt like that.
Yeah.
Um, definitely a little more etchy, um, Sonic than what we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
or like that came later. Um, you know, it was very, it was like Disney-fied a little bit, but like not.
Yeah.
But the animation was really good. Music was really good. I was kind of surprised at the script that it was really well written. Um, and if you would never have said anything to me, I would have never have known this existed, to be honest.
Yeah. It's kind of lost just because ADV, when they disappeared, a lot of their stuff went to either Sentai Filmworks or Funimation at the time.
Mhm.
And so this movie in general is just kind of lost. Like no one really, we'll get to it in a bit, but like no one really owns the rights to it or knows where the rights are. And so unless you watch this when it came out or you randomly find it on YouTube, you're not going to know what this movie is. So
Right. If you wouldn't have said to look up a specific way, I would have never guessed it. So when I did look it up, I found it right away. Um, and it's not long. It's like 50 something minutes. It's not super long.
yeah, the main thing that YouTube video, at least that first one, it's missing the credits because it kind of just like cuts off.
Yeah.
Um, because Lookalike just plays on its own at the end of there, so maybe they're trying to avoid a copyright strike. Um, but again, who owns it? No one knows.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, but yeah. So overall, like first impressions, spoiler free goes like you enjoyed it at least. Like you
Yeah.
enjoyed your time. Um, without rating this or anything like that. Before we get into the plot, the summary, all that kind of stuff, would you recommend this for people?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this was like a golden age for Sonic. Um, he had already had the cartoon out for a little bit. Um, I think this was really well done. Some of the cartoons are just a little too cartoony for me. Um, I love the action aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
so I probably would recommend them. The hard part is trying to buy it. It is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Um, but not be one to say pirate it or but it is actively on YouTube and it's not a hard find.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be me and buy this DVD for $100.
I mean, if you're really into it and you really like it, to get that physical media, then get it. Because at some point it will probably leave YouTube. I only found 2 versions
Well,
of
that
this
one
on
video
YouTube.
has been there for like 16 years or something. So
Yeah.
so I think it's safe. But yeah, I don't know if this is a good pride feeling, but I pride myself for the most part of owning almost every Sonic the Hedgehog movie or TV show. I don't own all the games because there's so many games, but I own Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I own the SatAM. I own the one where like there's triplets and they play in a band or something. I've never seen that one. Sonic Underground. I hear it's
Oh, yeah.
crazy. I own Sonic X dubbed and subbed. I have the movies. I have this movie. I just don't have the new Netflix show because I guess they started doing a physical release of that. But I didn't really enjoy that Netflix show. I don't know what it was. I just didn't vibe with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've oh, and I own Sonic Boom on Blu-ray. Sonic Boom's another one of those things where like kids aren't gonna I don't know if kids enjoy Sonic Boom. I think it's just like young adults who enjoy Sonic Boom.
Yeah, like, my kids have tried to watch Sonic cartoons and just not gotten into them. Now, the Sonic movies are another thing. They love the new ones. Excited to watch Sonic 3. They haven't watched it yet because 'cause I'm just really hoping it comes streaming soon.
Yeah,
Um, because Wicked is coming pretty soon, so Sonic 3 has to be coming at some point.
I would
Um,
I would hope so.
yeah, and so, um, I think they love that. They are really particular on cartoons. Okay. Like
Mhm.
in my household, the ones that they watch all the time, there's 2 weird Disney ones. I don't know what they are. One's about like a kid that lives in the city, but they have a farm. And then they watch regular show. And then they watch Gumball. That's what they watch. Sometimes they watch Clarence, but nothing past the last season. Like this last
Yeah.
season, they won't watch. They watch the other seasons. So
Big City
um,
Greens.
that's it.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I hear it's good. But
It's pretty. I can't say anything because I watch shows like Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. So I can't say too much. As for a kids cartoon, it is not as annoying as Bluey. So
you're one of those people you hate Bluey. All right. Um
I my I've been in groups of adult people, parents that are like, "Oh my god, you just love Bluey?" No, no, I don't. I think the it's annoying. Um, they're like, "What do you?" I always love it when people ask me, like, "What do you let your kids watch?" I'm like, "Fist of the North Star," and they're like, they look it up and
yeah,
they
I
go,
let them
"This
watch
is."
Ninja Scroll. I let them watch Fist of the North Star. I let them watch Outlaw
I
Star.
mean, they're 8 and 7 and 4. They can pick their own stuff. I don't really care.
Yeah,
So, I
exactly.
mean,
They're out there
come
watching
on.
Office Space.
I mean, come on. Nolan is my one son who's 7 is legitimately scared of the opening to the Goosebumps show with the dog in the eyes. He's not going to pick Ninja Scroll. He's not going to pick these others.
Yeah.
He did watch this a second time with me, and was okay. It didn't keep his attention.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep their attention at that age.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And then like I don't know. I was probably around his age. Yeah, when this came out for me. So, but I gravitated towards it cuz I was obsessed with Sonic. Like I had the Game Gear games. I never had a Genesis growing up, but I had the Game Gear games. I had Sonic the Hedgehog, Archie comics. I still have a bunch in my closet somewhere. And then I had VHS tapes of like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I watched Sat AM. I watched a bunch of things. So like I was a big Sonic kid without having even really playing Sonic. So like
Right.
I was invested. Um, especially like the idea of buying a tape and just having it for yourself and just rewatching and rewatching and rewatching it. Like, yeah,
That's what I mean, to be honest, like my older kids, when they were younger, they had DVDs. They would watch stuff so many times, they would wear out the DVDs.
that's
And
how
VHS was worse.
my younger sister was. Like, we watched Shrek and Shrek 2 so many times that like those DVDs just wore out way too fast. Like, I think we had to buy a new Shrek 2 or something at one point.
My oldest son, who is 18, he still loves Shrek. And when the other kids started watching it, he was like super excited. I'm like, I can't do this because you watch so much Shrek, like every day, Shrek, at least twice a day. The thought of watching it again is literally, I'd rather go get a root canal. It's bad. I feel bad.
Yeah.
This I watched this twice. I could probably watch it a third or fourth time,
Yeah.
just to be upfront.
Well, because it's so
But
short too. It feels short, and the pacing's really fast. But we'll get to that in a second. But overall, you enjoyed it. You recommend it to people because of the length, because of it's just enjoyable. It's pretty, blah blah. Blah. So,
right.
um, yeah. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to summarize what you said. So,
No, you're fine. You're
but
fine.
yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I don't really have first impressions because I've seen this already. But I recommend it to people who like Sonic. I recommend it to people who like older like anime things and they have an hour to kill. Because it's not like it's not the worst thing in the world, I'll say. Um I've watched this in Japanese once, and the Japanese, it takes itself maybe a little too seriously. And so out of the two, I kind of enjoy the odd dubbing just because it's of an era, like where
Right.
over exaggerated voices and things like that for um just for an anime. Like, it just takes you home, takes you to those speed racer days, you know what I mean? Like,
Gosh. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. But we're gonna go over the plot. We're gonna just go through the plot. I have bullet points here. We're gonna go through it. Just kind of just go through things. If anything catches your eye, or if anything you want to stop me on, let me know, and we can further uh speak about it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so from now on, it's spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, leave. Go watch the video. Come back. Yeah. So we'll start it. So the beginning, there's a bunch of lights and stuff, and you hear like machine noises and an odd like pulsating noise, which is really cool to hear. Um, you hear a pulsating noise, and then you also just see like a silhouette of like a Sonic robot. And you're like, oh, what is this? Like, it kind of plays like a horror, like a little bit, like as far or as introducing uh Metal Sonic. Um, just he's not in a tube; he's just kind of floating there, and uh Robotnik is talking about like, I finally did it. I finally completed my Hyper Metal Sonic. And so that happens, the title screen happens, You get to see Sonic just resting, resting on his lawn chair, or I guess his beach chair. Um, Tails is being obnoxious. We're gonna get into it later, but I do not like Tails' voice in this at all. I never have. It's just a weird take on Tails, where it's very like stuffy nose, like I sound like this. Like I don't. I, Tails is a nerd, so maybe that's what they were going for. Is like, oh, nerds sound weird, but I don't know. What do you think about Tails' voice?
You're right. It does seem very nasally. Um, and like in true anime fashion, his facial things and just the way he acted was very much like old school anime to me. But his voice was kind of annoying. I felt like all the voices were really kind of annoying a little bit, but it doesn't take back from the fact that it's still good. But
Yeah,
out of all of them, Tails was and I watched the English dub version.
yeah,
So I thought Tails was really bad, but also this is like a time period where like anime, it was hit or miss on the dubbed.
yeah,
It really was.
yep. Even like Evangelion or like some other like dubbing that you for amazing great anime. Evangelion has really awkward dubbing as well, and vocal
Yeah.
tracks and all of that. So like, yeah, like you said, it's just the era, the era of things. Um, so Sonic is laying down with his sunglasses. It's a very iconic pose. Like whenever people think of this Sonic, they think of him like laying down on his beach chair with like sleeping with his sunglasses on and his like ear twitching because Tails is yelling. Um, so like Tails has some bodyboard thing that he wants to test out, and so he goes as a rocket propelled bodyboard, and he's like, "Hey, you should come out here and have fun. It's okay if you don't swim. You can just have fun with this." And Tails' invention like starts to break, and he yells, um, as well as this like ship. And I don't remember if it's like a Eggman Robotnik type ship because all the ships kind of look the same except the
Yeah.
final ship. Um, Later with the president, like that looked more like Star Tours. um, but this one, there's this old man, this owl man, and he's like crashing, and he's about to crash, and Tails is trying to help him, and finally yells for Sonic, and then like the hype music happens, then the animation picks up. Sonic is running around. It's very akin to the Sonic opening of Sonic CD. Like he's running around in a area where it's kind of like simple, but like there's water around there. He's running on the cliff side. He's turning into a ball. He's jumping up. He's doing all the things that are very Sonic Adventure before Sonic Adventure. So I guess that's another reason maybe why they made this come out near Sonic Adventure for the United States. Um, but quick thing, the previous thing, the Sonic CD opening, Sonic Boom or Sonic, I forget what it's called, Sonic Warriors. Um, that song from Sonic CD, that was done by Toei slash Junio. But these two episodes are done by Perot. So Toei, Toei's Toei. They've done a lot of different anime and things like that. But for Perot, um, you describe this similar to like Naruto. Perot's done Naruto. Perot's done Bleach. Perot's done other things in the future. So they're no strangers to anime. So they can animate these scenes, these action scenes very well. And another thing is just like the character designs. I guess we'll get into this later as well, but like the character designs are so simple that it makes it easier to animate, I feel. Like they sometimes just look very sketched, but also very just detailed and not detailed at the same time, if you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. we can talk about it later. I'll give you my thoughts on it later, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So old man crashes. Old man's um talking about nothing. He doesn't understand what's gonna happen. He doesn't understand like what's happening or anything. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I had something to tell you, and I don't remember what it is, Sonic." And so there's this little gag I really like. There's this like little crab that's like walking on the beach, and it even like makes a little noise. And Sonic like picks it up and tilts it, so then it goes to the owl to like then like snap him. And so it's just like little things, like little like anime, not tropes, but like just little sight gags that are really funny. Help keep the story going. Old man owl. He remembers that the president wants him wants Sonic to go to the Oval Office or whatever the equivalent is. It basically was the Oval Office. The president wants him to go over there, and Sonic is like, you could have just called us instead of just flown over here and done um done this. But they go over to the president's office. They see the president and Sarah, but when the chair turns around, it's actually Dr. Robotnik, Dr. Eggman. I'll call him Robotnik, I guess, in this because that's how we United States refer to him as. But this time, like Eggman's always been Eggman. The only things that have been Robotnik have mostly been United States stuff, but then Japan kind of says Robotnik for lore reasons now. So like they kind of like took our stuff. But yeah, we call him Dr. Robotnik. Just Dr. Robotnik. There's no Ivo, there's no Julian or anything. It's just Dr. Robotnik. He captures Sarah, which is the president's daughter, and the president. The president looks like a normal human being guy. Maybe he's an Alex kid. I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it because I thought that Sarah is like a cat person because
Yeah,
she
she's
kind
got
of
a
like
tail.
she has a tail, but then she has this bow. But then when you look at the bow from the back, it kind of looks like it's a cap that's like covering ears. And so I don't know if she's a monkey or a cat person. Um, but if she is a monkey and the other guy, the president, like you don't see his tail or anything, but they kind of look like Alex Kidd then maybe to a
Yep.
degree. So maybe that's
Or
what they
maybe
are. Maybe they are monkeys.
maybe they're Saiyans.
Maybe they are Saiyans. Let's see. GT was over probably at this time.
Yeah.
So it could be. Um but Robotnik is like, "Hey, you need to go fight Metal Robotnik. You turn off this generator in my hometown, Robotropolis. If it's not turned off, the planet Freedom is going to explode." And Sonic is like, "Why should I trust you? Out of 99 times out of 100, or I forget the exact quote, but it's like 99
Mm.
times. Um, you always, I don't know. We should never trust you like 99 times because it's always a bad move to trust you. You always betray us." And then Tails is like, "What if this is his one other time?" And so then they agree, and Tails gets a navigator put on him. It's like a fancy little like Robotnik watch put on him to find um, a Robotropolis. And so they all leave. They leave on the tornado, which is Tails's plane. So it's the original tornado because Sonic Adventure 2 hasn't happened yet. So Sonic Adventure 2 has like the blue tornado like transforms to like a mech. The regular tornado is just a normal like red airplane. So they ride on the tornado, and this is really cool when they go from the land of sky into the land of darkness. They take First of all, they fly over there, the plane crashes, um but then they also fight enemies from the games. They fight like the bees, they fight
Yeah.
some other like the spinety dudes. And then there's also a spring, and like it actually makes the spring jump noise. And they're fighting stuff for a little bit there, and then they take a warp zone to the Land of Darkness, which is essentially New York City, as far as I can
Yeah.
tell. Um, so it's just a abandoned New York City. So there's just some certain like lore there where like background lore where it's um planet Freedom is Earth apparently, but Earth had the Land of the Sky appear, so all the continents flew up, and then what was left was the Land of Darkness. At least that's what I'm kind of taking from it, like because that is New York City. Like
Yeah.
there's no doubt about that. Um, so let's see. So while Sonic and Tails go leave, Robotnik has like a robot that like crashes like into the Oval Office. And he gets in it, and Sarah gets in it and just starts pressing buttons because she's an annoying anime girl. And so they fly off into this robotic thing. And so in the Land of Darkness, yeah, the tornadoes crash. They're exploring, trying to find a way to Robotropolis. Lightning strikes, and that will be a plot point only once, where Tails is afraid of lightning. Um, and so that happens, and they're going, and there's this huge mech, which is really really cool. Like it's very Ava hasn't come out yet, but like I, I don't know. I really like the design of Metal Robotnik, where it's a big fat robot, but it has on a cloak. Like it has on like yeah, like some sort of cloak or something to just hide its like full arsenal. What do you think of the design of Metal Robotnik? Because I don't have it
Um,
in our characters
so,
sheet.
so I thought it was really well done. It definitely, like, there was parts of the movie that didn't feel like it was kiddish. This felt like a regular anime. It felt like, um, I think the best example to me is animes that are like they've got serious parts to it, kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. It's got its funny scenes, it's got its actions, and then there's like the super serious fights and stuff that happen. That's what it felt like. He had guns, he had wings and the jetpack. Um, also kind of springboard off of what you said about the enemies when they showed up. What was cool, the B ones. So Sonic and Tails are going super fast. They see him, they turn around, and then they go back after him. I thought that animation was like literally playing the game, like of seeing them, especially that character. Character was in like Sonic 1,
Yep.
the bees. So
Yeah.
um I thought that was really cool. I thought the action part was really cool. Um but uh Metal Robotnik was pretty cool looking with a huge amount of arsenal. It gave me like Power Ranger vibes. I know that sounds like really weird, but it kind of did,
Yeah. Yeah.
It really the goofy kind of thing, but it was good though.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Like it's very serious. It feels very robot anime,
Hmm.
how it's designed. But then it has things that we'll go into here in like just a second. But like when they're fighting them, um, and trying to avoid them, they it has the wings, like the bat wings that come out. It has the jetpack, like you said. But then it also has like glue that just comes out of its butt. Um,
Yes.
so like it like sits on the side and just like starts um, shooting glue at them. And this is where the other time when lightning matters is like when they're avoiding the glue and stuff, and they're all dodging. Lightning strikes, it pauses Tails gets scared and then gets hit by the glue and then stuck to like an um old metal fence in the New York setting there. um there's an instance there where they're also trying to avoid them, or avoid Metal Robotnik, and run away, and they pretend that they were drowning or whatever, and like the ADR, just the acting of that is pretty funny because like, oh, we're drowning, oh no. But they act like, oh, Mellow Robotnik won't see us anymore because he thinks we're dead, so they go, and then that's when they get hit by the glue. um and during that time, Sonic and is still trying to fight Metal Robotnik, just not doing well. And who shows up? A Mr. Cowboy himself, Knuckles, assists. Um, I don't know if I wrote this here. I don't think so. Knuckles can just fly.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy. I thought the hat was kind of weird as well.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, look, he's wearing a hat." You could glide as Knuckles,
Yeah.
in Sonic and Knuckles, but I thought that was pretty cool to do it. I feel like a lot of these anime that do kind of go with video games, they always take a little bit of liberty.
Hmm.
Um, you know, because these were 16-bit up to disc, I think they could. You know, you definitely can.
Yeah.
Um, if you remember the Street Fighter 2 movie, when Guile throws a sonic boom, it hits E Honda's shack and it blows up.
Hmm.
Just different liberties that they took, but it's still like I think it still was okay. The hat kind of threw me off. I was like, why is he wearing a hat?
I think it's because he's a treasure hunter, and so they equate that to like, yo, he's going in the mines, so he has to have like a cowboy hat on. He's going gold digging. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what they're trying to do, but it's stupid. But I love the hat. I think the hat's hilarious. Um, I'm gonna say right now before we go through the rest of this, besides Robotnik, Knuckles is my favorite character in this film. He's every scene that he's in, he steals the show. Um,
Yeah,
and I think it's also just the way that the voice actor does it too. Just the way that he delivers, it's annoyed, I guess, is how it is. And so um it just really works for Knuckles. So Knuckles shows up, um and let's see. Knuckles shows up and then tries to assist them, and basically does that. They defeat the metal Robotnik, and they fly away. And right when they're flying away, and they're going to say like, "Hey, do you want to go and we're gonna go this way. Do you want to go with us?" Nah, it's fine. Just kidding. I'm gonna go with you guys. And so they go to the Robotropolis. They see it. It all lights up like a parade, like a huge like amusement park, like on the pier. And it has the Robotnik like stash and like glasses and stuff on there. And like right before that, the Metal Robotnik, like in its rubble, um Robotnik is there saying like haha, you're falling for my trap, this and that. He won't get past, everything's fallen into place essentially. And he's in the rubble with Sarah there, and they're gonna go basically fly back and make sure that things happen. And the OVA ends with Knuckles flying away. So like, look alike is the main theme of this OVA series, and so you can kind of tell like this is like the halfway point,
yeah,
was just this song playing, they fly away, and that's that. OVA 2 starts, and my earphone just fell out. OVA 2 starts, and Sonic goes to the generator. They go through into this into Robotropolis. All three of them do. They run onto this treadmill to try to hit this button. The generator is going to explode. It has a timer and everything, and Sonic hits it with like a millisecond to spare, and like a victory thing happens. It's like da like I kind of wish it was the actual victory theme from Sonic the Hedgehog. Like it'd be nice if it was like the spinning, like the normal
Oh yeah.
victory theme, but they didn't. Whatever. I wonder what they were allowed and what not allowed to use. Maybe there were some things they weren't allowed to use, but I think it would have made it a little better if they changed that music there. But that happens, and Sonic is there looking all cocky and everything, like, haha, I did it. And then this green like force field appears and kind of like pops up, and it scans um Sonic, and the generator then just kind of explodes. Metal Sonic appears in like an aura like field, starts floating up. And I write in my notes powering up like a Super Saiyan, because he like kind of has like that aura around him, like key. Um, and so he's kind of floating there, and they look at Metal Sonic, and they're like, oh, it's another Sonic, that's weird. And Metal Sonic isn't really doing anything. And then the weirdest part of this, I don't know, I guess there's a bunch of weird parts in this, but the
Sure.
the weird like ghost appears. Like there are these weird like noises of these spirits that pop up, and it sounds like water droplets or whatever. And then all of a sudden, the ghost of Metal Robotnik appears, getting lifted up. And then when you can see, it's actually just Robotnik's minions lifting up this corpse of this robot. But then one of them doesn't lift it up all the way, and they jump, and so it falls. And so you can see it, and it's really, really cool when Metal Robotnik like breaks apart in half. Like you can see the innards like of its like brain and all of that. Like it's very detailed. Like again, like I don't know, like some kind of like horror anime to a degree. Like it's very intricate in that design, to where like it looks like, oh man, someone's head got cut in half. And so like it's just super super detailed. Like they clearly cared about mecha anime and stuff, creating some of
Yeah.
these things.
And I will say, with when you got to see that other Sonic, um, I think littler kids might have been scared by it because he does look pretty menacing. It reminds me of like older Gundam a little bit,
Mhm.
like very menacing. Oh, better example would be like
Okay.
Voltron. Like the beast that Voltron fought all the time.
Yeah.
It gave me that vibe with it. And the animation for him was really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. um so the ghost of Metal Robotnik breaks and falls apart. You see Sarah yelling at Dr. Robotnik, and then they're like, wait, Sarah, what are you doing here? And then Robotnik says that, yeah, you fell for my trap. You thought that there was a generator, but you lose. I've created this robot, and it is it's by Hyper Metal Sonic or something like that. Sonic tries to punch Dr. Robotnik, but then Metal like almost immediately like appears in front of Robotnik, protecting him. Um, Robotnik explains that in that green force field, Sonic's life data was copied, so that was like the only thing that he needed left for Metal. So basically, to give it like a soul, I guess. um,
Yeah.
and so um Dr. Robotnik plans to kill the real Sonic and then destroy the land of the sky. So basically, his plan was the plan that he said that the Metal Robotnik was doing in the beginning, like when he was trying to be like, hey guys, you need to trust me, this bad guy's here. And so plan is to um make the glaciers explode and all that, but we'll get to that here in a second. um yeah, Sonic and Metal Sonic fight. um Again, in this he calls Hyper Metal Sonic, just for easier, less words. I'm just gonna say Metal or Metal Sonic. um so Sonic and Metal fight. Sonic is losing. Metal flies out of Robotropolis. They're still fighting a little bit. Sonic falls. Metal gets this like victory thing inside him, and then also on Robotnik's Palm Pilot. I don't know what he had.
It looked like you're dating yourself with the word Palm Pilot.
Well, I'm
A
saying
lot
that
of
on purpose because it's from '96.
a lot of people are gonna watch this and be like, "What is a Palm Pilot?"
Oh,
Palm Pilot is
yeah,
what a smartphone is now, but it
yeah,
was something completely different and not as good as a
and it
smartphone.
wasn't a phone.
No.
um, but yeah, like his little like monitor thing has like a little animation where it says that Metal won, Sonic is dead, and so Robotnik thinks that Sonic is dead. Um, I wrote the quote here because Robotnik has this weird like chomping face, and he's like, Sonic will never again be a pain in my egg, and it's a good pun, be a pain in my egg, and so I
Yeah.
enjoyed that even though he's not Eggman in this, so I don't know why they still said that, but whatever. Tails and Knuckles hit a warp and head back home. Metal Sonic appears at the home though beforehand and kind of like Terminatory, where like it's monitoring, like you see from its perspective. It sees the old man still at their house for some reason, and old man Owl's there, and he's like, Sonic, what are you doing? Stop! And then it kind of plays it off as a like a horror, like he was killed or something. And
Yeah.
Sonic wakes up in the forest, and that's kind of like all you really see of that. Like he just kind of wakes up, there's dew and everything after the battle, and he kind of just leaves. Tails and Knuckles find the old man wearing Sonic's favorite clothes. um Sonic has clothes, first of all, which is weird, but he also has like a skateboard, so that makes sense, I guess. And according
Oh, for the
to,
time period, yeah.
yeah, definitely. And it's before the skate or the grinding shoes, because that's Sonic Adventure too. um but they find the old man wearing Sonic's clothes. Old man states that he forced me to put on his clothes and flew away because he thought that it was Sonic. And they kind of find out like, oh, that was Metal who was here. And Tails begins just messing with the navigator. Knuckles is also repairing the tornado and doing things like that. With the navigator, Tails is reprogramming it to kind of go with the wavelength of Sonic and Metal Sonic to try to hack Metal Sonic in the future. The president calls Sonic's home, and Knuckles just yells at him, and he's just like, I'm trying to work here. Who are you? Stop bothering me. And he doesn't realize it's the president until the old man's like, oh, hi, Mr. President. And then Knuckles freaks out. He's like, what? Just yelling at the president. Who would do such a thing? um and
Oh boy.
yeah. um so the next thing, what happens is they're still having their conversation, because it kind of does this conversation, goes to another scene, goes back to the conversation. So the next scene that they
Yeah.
go to is Robotnik giving Sarah a wedding dress, and Sarah's like, oh wow, this is a nice dress, why'd you give this to me? When Metal Sonic destroys the world, we'll be the only ones left. And so yeah, we'll get married and we'll be the only ones left. And then she has a thing that is apparently censored in some versions, where it's just like a fantasy, or I guess a nightmare, of her like having a bunch of little egglings, like Dr. Robotnik kids with him. And so she gets mad and starts like punching him and yelling at him and stuff. And so then it goes back to the president and Knuckles call, and Knuckles explains to the president like the main plot of this. We kind of knew about it in the beginning, but Knuckles actually explains it because he's a treasure hunter and he just knows digging and underground stuff somehow. Um and so he explains about the glacier uh being potentially destroyed, like if they're going to go up there to the polar ice caps and stuff. If this happens, the magma will rise, This will cause the Earth's rotation to mess up, and basically, like, the there's like an ice bridge, and like if that ice bridge melts, that's what's holding up the floating continents, and then all the floating continents will er, basically fall out of orbit essentially, which is interesting. Like they don't fall into the Earth or into the planet Freedom; they just fly away and just kind of like get destroyed by the atmosphere. And so what's left is just Robotropolis, the Land of Darkness, all that kind of stuff, like the actual original planet. Um, and so Sonic shows up in the president's office and is like, "Yo, I heard everything. I'm gonna head over there." And they're like, "Wait, Sonic, don't!" And then Sonic is already gone. Tails and Knuckles head off in the tornado to find Metal and Sonic. Tails confirms that he um, programmed the navigator correctly to sync up to show like the brain waves of both of them, of Metal and regular Sonic, so they have some sort of weapon potentially for Metal Sonic. Um, Sonic arrives, Magma's starting to rise. Then there's a couple of these fights, um, but there is like a long Sonic versus Metal Sonic here. I'm gonna read the famous quote. This is like a very quotable quote. Like this is the thing that people think about when they think about this movie. They think of the line that Sonic says to Metal Sonic, "You might know everything I'm gonna do, but that's not gonna help you since I know everything you're gonna do. Strange, isn't it?" Like he says it really weird. And
Oh,
so
very weird.
yeah, and so like it's so iconic and memorable. Like Sonic fans love Strange, isn't it? There's I don't know if you know the old Simpsons episode where there's memes where it's like say the line Bart, and then he says I didn't do it, and everyone like applauds. There's some Sonic fan comic or whatever. They're like, say the line Sonic, and he's like, strange, isn't it? And then they all the different Sonics applaud. um Hang on, I need some water because I'm talking a lot. But so yeah, that's one of the most iconic things. So if you got that far, that's it. You don't have to watch anymore because you heard the best line of the whole movie. um So they're fighting. It's really, really cool. Again, this is like some of the best animation here, I would say, in these last few fights. Um, Sonic himself is very simple, but then Metal is very detailed. And so them clashing at each other and very fast and everything. You explain or like Dragon Ball, and I even said Dragon Ball to a sense, but like it does kind of feel like some sort of like shonen Dragon Ball fight.
It it does. It definitely feels that way. Um it feels very like the fights were really well done. You
Mhm.
know, besides all the corny stuff that happens, the fight scenes are really good. It's where I would think for Sonic, like he would go into his ball
Mhm.
really, really fast. It's kind of like what we, it was like these old school anime. The
Mhm.
fight scenes were great. So, but like the whole things with him and Metal were great. And like there were certain scenes where they were moving so fast you couldn't see them,
Mhm.
and they would like show up in spots, like teleportation almost. I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So they're fighting for a bit. Um Sonic kind of kicks Metal into Dr. Robotnik's ship because Sarah and Dr. Robotnik warp to the glaciers, and Metal Sonic lands underneath Sarah in Sarah's dress, and then Sonic just starts having a reaction to it because their brainwaves are synced, and Sarah is kicking Metal, being like, "Don't look there, you pervert." And Sonic is just like dancing around like he's just a horny hedgehog. It's just really weird. Um, but like he's like blushing and he's like, I don't know, like moving all around really fast because he's just embarrassed or horny. I don't know. No pun intended, I guess, because it's a hedgehog. But spiny, I guess, more so. But yeah, it's a weird scene. It's one of the two at the end here, but where it's like, yep, that's anime. That's what people think when they
Oh
think of
yeah.
anime. Um, so yeah, that shows that Sonic and Metal are synced. Uh, Sarah falls off of Robotnik's airship. Knuckles catches her. Dr. Robotnik then launches one of the greatest things. He launches this tortoise and hare missile. And so he launches the first missile. So like the race starts. The rabbit, the hare goes off and it hits the tornado and makes Tails crash. But then you look and the tortoise is still going really, really slow. And Robotnik is mad and he's just like, another design failure, because like for some reason he made a tortoise and the hare thing. I don't know why. Like that's just, you should have known from the beginning, dude, that this was that's what was gonna happen. um Knuckles is slipping on the ice while holding Sarah. Even though Knuckles can fly, maybe he can't fly while holding someone. Maybe that's the thing. But he's slipping, he's freaking out, he's about to fall, and Sarah's just laughing, having the time of her life for some reason. And Tails falls down, and from after the crash, rolls into like a snowball. They all roll into a snowball, kind of fall down. And this is the second part where Tails is grabbing on Sarah's chest, her breasts, and Knuckles calls him out immediately and is like, Tails, I'm so sorry. I never thought you stooped that low. Like, I don't know why that was there. Cause like he's just scared, and like Tails, I don't know how old Tails is in this, but like Tails is normally like 6, Tails doesn't
Yeah.
know what that stuff is, but like whatever. I don't know, it's just a throwaway line. But yeah, that's the thing. And so Knuckles is hit by some falling ice. Sarah yells at Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic it has Sonic's data, so it kind of gets distracted. Sonic then hits it and is able to fight some more. Knuckles doesn't want to help. They're like, hey, Knuckles, you should help. I don't want to help. Sarah's like, will you help him for me, big man, or something like that? Kisses him. And he's like, right, yes, ma'am. And he goes, tries to fight, tries to help, and he flies, and then rest in peace, Knuckles' hat. Knuckles' hat catches on fire. The worst casualty of this whole film, his hat. I even wrote our notes. The most important part of the movie happens. Knuckles' hat catches on fire. Sonic and Metal continue to fight. Sonic is losing. Tails reprograms Metal Sonic to freeze with the little navigator thing, so Sonic can attack, because he basically like changes the brain waves or like flips it or something. The president crashes. Let's see, did I write this? Oh, this is later. Okay. The president's ship crashes, which again kind of looks like a Star Trooper ship. It doesn't really look
It
like
does.
like a Robotnik ship. So it crashes into the bridge that they're trying to protect. And magma and lava starts to appear, and they're like, the magma can make it explode. If that explodes, then the glacier is destroyed. If the glacier is destroyed, then the whole planet freedom and the land of the sky and all that stuff, everything that you're trying to prevent, the president just kind of caused. And so with that, let's see, they're gonna go try to save the president. Knuckles is trying to open up the door, but they can't open it. Metal Sonic stops Sonic from saving the president. Dr. Robotnik destroys the navigator, so they can't hack him again. Sonic and Metal Sonic fight while Knuckles is trying not to get hit. He's like kind of like whack-a-mole, like he's flying, like he's digging in a bunch of different holes. And there's one point where during the fight, Sonic actually jumps on Knuckles' head, and then it zooms in on Knuckles giving the thumbs down. And so Yeah, okay. So I guess I missed my stuff here a little bit. Yeah, Knuckles tries to open the ship now. Ship explodes. Metal Sonic comes out and saves the president and the old man owl because for some reason the old man owl's in that ship. I don't know how. I don't know why, but old man owl is also in there. Metal Sonic then falls into the lava. They keep saying magma, but that's not magma.
Yeah.
Lava, magma is inside the earth. Lava is when it's outside the earth. So it falls into the lava. Sonic tries to rescue him. Metal starts to reach out and climb, and Sonic doesn't want to like kill Metal. I guess maybe because it's part of him or something. Um, and so I didn't mean to do a reference to a Kingdom Hearts bad live action video, but I just did. If you know, you know. And so he tries to reach up to him and knocks away his hand. And this is the only time you hear Metal Sonic talk, and it's like through like a brainwave thing. And we can assume that um this is probably what Sonic has been hearing this whole time because he does talk to Metal a few times, but you hear just beeps and boops. And so maybe this is what Sonic has been just been hearing because they have like a telepathic link or something because it's all the same.
Hmm.
But Metal Sonic says there can only be one Sonic Nick. Or there is only one Sonic Nick. Um, and so Metal falls into lava, melts away. Camera pans around. You still see that little tortoise going. He's still going by. Everyone's sad that Metal's dead. Robotnik shows up and he's like, "It's okay. I still got this data. I can make a new Metal Sonic and be better than the last one." And then that tortoise pops up, eats that disc, explodes. Everyone laughs. Sonic then hits, or Knuckles then hits Sonic in the head, saying that now we're even because you jumped on my head. And Sonic is like, I don't remember that. And so Knuckles runs away from Sonic. Tails runs to Sonic and Knuckles. Dr. Robotnik is in his ship. Sarah, the president, Old Man Owl all jump inside Robotnik's ship. Sarah's like, let's go catch Sonic. And Robotnik's like, okay. And so they all just kind of, it ends with them just all chasing each other. And Sonic is like, you know what, I'm tired of this. See ya. And he runs way faster than everyone else. Title screen happens. Lookalike plays. That's the movie. Um, so Sonic, we're gonna go by characters now here really quick. Sonic, he's mostly like the other Sonics, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that.
He's cocky, he's cool, he's a little more heroic, I would say, than other Sonics. Um, he's voiced by Martin Burke in this, which he's only in like 6 things. You might know him
Oh,
from
wow.
Ninja Resurrection or Die Guard. Um, he's not in much. He's 1997 to 2003 is when he did stuff. Um,
Wow.
yeah, there is some interview with Ben Schwartz where he talks about like how he came up with his Sonic voice and how he does to do the stuff. He mentions Martin Burke in his interview. He says all the Sonic voice actors before him. He said like, yeah, this person, Martin Burke, this person. And so like the good thing about Ben Schwartz is like he's a huge Sonic fan. And so he knew to like get something from everyone. And so like this Sonic isn't a bad Sonic. I would say like he sounds like Sonic. He sounds like a cocky person. Um, he's just not my favorite Sonic.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how'd you feel about this Sonic voice actor as well as just like his mannerisms and stuff.
um, so the voices were a little. I think I had to get used to the voices because it literally is like anime from that time period. If
Mhm.
you look at like Pokemon from back then and stuff, it very much is that type of anime. Um, and Yu-Gi-Oh. So to me, I feel like that is dubbed was okay. Now dubbed now, the English dubbed people do an amazing job, you know. Um, but yeah, I almost thought that all the characters were kind of kooky a little bit, kind of like not fully serious, even during serious times, you know. So Um, but yeah, I thought he was fine.
Yeah. Um, then we kind of talked about Tails a lot earlier. Like there isn't really much to say about Tails again. Um, Tails is Tails. Sidekick needs help occasionally. Afraid of lightning. Computer whiz. Doesn't really do much from other Tales. We talked about earlier how we didn't really enjoy the voice, and I feel like we're not really alone. Um,
Yeah.
just because it's just so different. The voice actress for Tails is Lainey Frazier. Lainey Frazier has done voice acting for some things. Let's see, Sonic the Movie, Final Fantasy Unlimited. Um, she's in some live action stuff. It looks Wedding Peach, DC Universe Online. She's Granny Goodness in that.
Oh, wow.
Metroid Prime 3, Wizard 101, Pirate 101, if you remember those old games, those online MMOs for children.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so like yeah, she's in some things, but not a whole lot. Um, Next person here is the old man owl. I hate him. He is kind of stupid. He doesn't really need to exist, but he's here. Um, I don't I don't know why he's here. Um,
Yeah.
like they just wanted a comic relief character, but everyone already is a comic relief character. And
Yeah, I
so
feel
you
like
just have him just kind of
yeah,
there sometimes.
he was kind of like to me brought there for that comic relief, but everybody has a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, his voice almost reminded me of Master Roshi.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, he's in a bunch of different anime. Um, I don't know. It says, oh, okay. He helped out with audio. He was an audio engineer for ADV Films.
Oh wow.
And then he started just voicing things because they're like, well, you're here. That's what I feel like happens with a lot of people. It's like audio mixers or script writers. Like that's what happened with Steve Bloom, where like Steve Bloom was like writing scripts for anime, and then they're like, hey, you want to voice some characters? He's like, I guess. And then Steve Bloom is like a world renowned voice actor. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, old man doesn't really do much. He's just a messenger for the very beginning, just so they have some sort of conflict at the very beginning, but then they don't know what else to do with them. And then he wears Sonic's clothes for some reason. Just for that one scene. That's it. Um Robotnik, Eggman, oh, I said what the actor was in. Charles Campbell is the voice actor. I don't know if I said that. Um Next character, Dr. Robotnik slash Eggman. I like this Eggman. I like this Robotnik a lot,
Yeah.
actually. He's comically evil. Wants to destroy Sonic. Uh, yeah, he's very much. He's not completely incompetent, like say Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, like long face Robotnik, but he can mess up, like with his Taurus and hair thing, or just with I don't know, with his Metal Robotnik and like his other minions and stuff. He can mess up, but overall, like he's a good villain. I feel like he feels very similar to a lot of other Robotniks, um, but I would say he's a little more evil than the others. Um, not as evil as like Sad AM or like the comics or anything like that. Like where he's like
Yeah.
Jim Cummings and want to kill Sonic.
He's just enough evil like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good comparison. Like,
Just not evil enough.
yeah, he is the Doctor Evil of this movie. Like he is comedic, but then he's also tries to be evil. Sometimes that doesn't play off as evil, but he's evil enough. Yeah. The president, he doesn't have a name. Is the next character here. Not really explain what he does or why he exists. So I'm assuming he's just the president of the land of the sky, because I guess they need a ruler because Robotnik's the ruler of the land of darkness, I guess. I don't know. Um yeah, he's only I wrote in my notes here, he's only there for Sarah to exist so they can have Sarah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. And so Robotnik has someone to threaten initially to cause them to go underground in the first place. Um Again, yeah, one of those characters where like I feel like he doesn't need to exist, but he's here. Edwin Neal voices both the president and Robotnik. So one guy did two different characters. Edwin Neal, if you look at him, he's in a bunch of different stuff. He's in a bunch of, oh wow, he was in Metroid Prime 3 as well. But he's in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's best
Mm.
known as the Hitchhiker.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he played the president and Robotnik in this, but he's also in DC Universe Online as Two-Face, Killer Croc, Harvey Bullock, and just a bunch of other things. Bunch of other few anime, few video games. Yeah, just quite a few things there. Sarah is the main comic relief, I would say. She's an annoying character who likes Sonic. Unintentionally goes along with Robotnik's plan. Typical anime girl, has a tail for some reason. And I wrote, does the president have one too? Because like we see his back, but like we don't
Yeah.
see it. And so I don't know if he has one.
I didn't see his tail, um, but I definitely saw her tail and her ears. So
Yeah. And so again, is she a monkey? Is she a cat? I'm leaning more towards the monkey theory now because I feel like that makes more sense for like if it's Sega properties. Like if you look at the president, like the way that his face is shaped, the way that his hair is, like he could be Alex Kidd. He could be like an
yeah,
older Alex Kidd. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. So the next person I have here is Knuckles. I wrote cool cowboy hat, can just fly, not gliding, and he's able to remove glue with his hands somehow. I don't understand how he
yeah,
has
that was
the
weird.
ability to do that. He's voiced by Bill Wise. Bill Wise is known for a lot of different random anime things as well as live action things. He was also in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Wow.
He was the heckler. Incredibles 2. He's in this. He's in Die Guard, Rurouni Kenshin, Get Backers, Guyver. Oh, he's in some other stuff. He's in like Red versus Blue.
Hmm.
Yeah. This is a bunch of random stuff. Then finally, yeah, we have Hyper Metal Sonic. Yeah, the clone of Sonic. Brainwaves are tying together. I don't think. Oh no, he does have a voice actor, Gary Dehan, and British voice actor. Age is 62. Was in Sakura Wars, Tekken the motion picture, some other random stuff, City Hunter, but otherwise not much else. But yeah, those are all the characters. We kind of talked about the animation a little bit here, but kind of want to go into a little bit more detail. Animation art style here. The anime was produced again by Perot, directed by Kazutaka Ikegami. Sonic Team, Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima helped supervise the project. You mentioned it, I mentioned it. Very 90s, very fluid in the movement and animation. One thing I did notice, I might have brought it up at the very beginning, like the character designs are pretty like chibi for the most part. Like they're very
Mhm.
rounded, but that could just be to easy animate. um Potentially. backgrounds I thought look really nice in this. I don't know what you thought, but like they seem detailed enough, but also like those could be backgrounds on someone's computer or phone.
Yeah, I thought the backgrounds looked really good, and like I said before, the animation and art style was very well to me. I thought it was for being a movie in '96. I thought it was really the animation was very well done, very colorful.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I kind of wrote in here the Sonic and Metal fight at the glacier is probably like one of the best examples in this whole film of like how well it looks. Music and sound design look alike. It's composed by Tada and written by and sung by Ryu Konaka. It's a catchy song, and it's a pretty good song just overall for these OVAs. Um, Many of the action songs I felt sounded like they would fit in a Sonic game. Um, like the songs that just didn't have any lyrics or anything, like in the beginning. Um, when he's running to save Tails and the old man, um, the music when they first end up at the president's office, um, it's the travel music was really good. The music of the tornado, the music of the land of darkness, or the music of everything. Like if they could just figure out who owns that and just put it on a CD, I would love to just have that score because that
Yeah,
score is really nice. Um, and then we talked about earlier, but like enemies and springs and stuff like have the iconic game sound effects for the most part. Those are the like few things that had character designs as well as just the sound designs as well. Um, I wrote my pros here. If you want to also say some of your pros as well, but my pros for this film, I wrote that it's pretty to look at, it's great music, cool character designs, and it's short.
yeah, I'll throw my 2 cents in. I think those are all pretty accurate. I think the most important one on there is it's a short enough film where it gets the point done. It doesn't overkill.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I think if that movie was an hour and a half, I don't think it would have been good.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was just enough time to get in there, do a great story, do some great scenes, and then get out. Why the getting is good. So, that was good. It was pretty look at. The music was pretty good. Um, Definitely felt the 90s music in there.
Mm-hmm.
Little techno pop from the 90s.
Yep.
But yeah, I think all those things are pretty much the same things I thought as well. I felt like it definitely was like a great film. And I think when we were talking before, I even said, Alex, I think this film was just the right amount of time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of animated or anime films, they do this thing where they go, "Oh, we got to make it longer so the kids have more to watch," but that doesn't always help the story along.
Mm-hmm.
This had good pacing as well. I felt the pacing for the plot was very good. You always knew there wasn't like a part of the story you're like, okay, so where are you going right now? Because we should be
Mm-hmm.
closing it out, you know?
Yes. I agree and disagree with you, and we'll kind of go in that into the cons here. So my cons, questionable casting slash voice direction. I think it's more of a voice direction for the English dub because again we watch it in English.
Mm,
90s anime is 98 anime, so I guess that could be the issue mainly, but like sometimes it's like overacted or it just feels awkward at times. Um, I think the pacing is good and bad. Um, I read somewhere that originally this movie, take this with a grain of salt because I saw it like two places, that this movie was originally going to be like 2 hours. Um, like it was going to be like a longer OVA series, but then they kind of had to like trim it down. Um,
yeah.
and so you can kind of tell just because sometimes they hop to play different places too fast. I would say getting to the ice caps was really, or the glaciers was a little too fast to just go right to that in my opinion. Um Whereas like I felt like the beginning had really good pacing. The OVA 1 I thought had excellent pacing with introducing your characters, having um an incident happen, go through the land of darkness, go to the president's office, go to Robotropolis and end. Like I think that did well. It's just the second part was like, all right, come on, we gotta go, we gotta go. And so
Yeah,
again, that's good and bad. Like I felt like the as we said, like shorter is like it shorter isn't always better, but it did work in its favor for this one because yeah, if this was a little longer, then be like, all right, I'm checking my watch. I'm gonna see when this movie's done.
and
Um,
I've been to movies, um, through my lifetime, I've been to movies where I'm like, looking at my watch like, "This just needs to end." I'll give you a prime example of that, and I'm gonna probably get some hate, but I think, and I went because at that time, that's what my wife wanted to go to. I would say almost every single one of the Twilight films was, the last one I fell asleep at. I've never fallen asleep in a theater.
yeah,
Fell asleep. I was just waiting. I'm like, "Hey, maybe Blade's gonna show up and take the whole family out," but he never did. Never did. That'd have
spoilers.
been the best. That'd have been the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
The weird werewolves and the sparkling in the sunlight. Just
yeah.
not my thing. Not my thing.
Those movies are the book series is something as well, but that's for another time.
I
If
have
you,
heard
huh?
books are better than the movie. I have heard
Sure,
that.
sure, yeah. If you want us to review Twilight, you have
No.
to do something for us. You have to um I don't know, get us have more subscribers
Uh,
on
it would take a
Spotify.
check. It would take a check for $500 for me to review and properly review, not me just come out and say, "Oh, there was this crap. Next movie." Because I'd have to rewatch all of them.
Oh, I didn't even say all of them. I just meant the first one.
I mean, yeah, I will watch the. If somebody donates $500 to us, I will watch it. I will do a proper review of it. There you go.
All
I think I
right.
set myself up though.
You
This
did.
is bad.
It might happen. It might happen
This is
now,
bad.
Someone's going to hear this. Someone you know personally is going to hear this and there's going to be like, "Oh, $500 to make him suffer?" Okay.
By the way, if Kristen Stewart sends a check, it's now void. We're not. No. No.
So yeah, it has a little bit bad pacing. Some characters just shouldn't exist, have no redeeming values. We talked about the Owl Man earlier, even the president to a degree. Sarah's too annoying. I said Sarah's
Yeah.
annoying, too annoying. Falls into anime tropes with Sarah, with I don't know, the suggestive themes, the etchy stuff with Tails accidentally grabbing some boobs and like and not even really doing anything, but they play it off as like, oh man, he did something bad. It's like, no, he didn't. He was grabbing onto her innocently.
Yeah. It reminds me of like old school Boma
Yeah,
and Master Roshi.
yeah,
She would hit him every time he would get all perverty.
yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. But at least with Boma, it doesn't happen enough. But I felt like there that and I'm gonna go with your cons here. I felt like those were all legit.
Mhm.
Um, I felt like it kind of threw characters in there just to throw characters in there. I do not like when movies do that. If this movie was the 2 hour long movie, I would have been like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to watch Monster Hunter over the weekend and I'm like, this is just trash. I cannot. I don't even play Monster Hunter. It's like
You
Resident
will
Evil all over.
soon when we play Monster Hunter Wilds together.
Someone buys it for me, I'll play it.
Put you up to that.
I
Um,
mean, I, they could be digital. I'm cool with that.
I I I might be getting that game. We'll see. Um, so the last thing I kind of want to talk about: legacy references, impact. Um, Knuckles wears his hat in multiple things, whether that's Archie comics, IDW comics, I think. Also in the Knuckles miniseries that happened recently, he gets his hat, so he does have the cowboy hat. Um, so that's fun. Um,
Is that the show where he fights the Hound?
yes,
Okay. Or the show, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, you said show, but yeah, um, yeah, because that's the show. Yeah, with Wade Whipple and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's not bad. I own it on 4K now. It's not a bad show. Like it's okay. Um,
I mean, I watched the Halo series, so
yeah, I think you enjoy this much more than the Halo series.
I enjoyed
Um,
the Halo series. Just the weird sex stuff was weird because Master Chief doesn't do that. But sure,
but now he does. Um,
forever.
yeah. Discotech, company that's released other things Sonic, such as Sonic X in English to Japanese, and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog on SD Blu-ray, both of them on HD Blu-ray. They have attempted to license this Sonic OVA um, on Blu-ray or SD Blu-ray in the United States. It's something that's always asked of them. So finally, in like one of their Q&A sections at the end of one of their videos or their live streams, they finally talked about Sonic and they're like, listen, we know you want this. We want it too, but we can't license it because Sega has lost paperwork for the music and for the voice actors. And so we don't know who to pay, essentially. Um, and so until Sega figures it out, or until someone at ADV or wherever figures out who owns what, this is never getting a re-release. So this is my I'm I didn't mind spending that money for this. I mean, I did and
Yeah,
I didn't, but like, um, because it is a this is the only way to watch it besides YouTube, I guess. So, and this is better quality than a YouTube video. Um,
absolutely.
the last thing I have here is Sonic Rebuilt is a project. I don't know if you clicked on this link at all yet.
Oh no.
But I don't know if you know Shrek Retold that happened a few years ago. It is a YouTube project where they played Shrek the movie and all the audio and stuff was the same, but bunch of different animators animated Shrek. And so like it would cut in between different people animating, and it could be live action, it could be CG, it could be 2D, it could be sketches, it
Oh
could be
wow.
like really weird animation, like I don't know, like Newgrounds-ish animation, you know. It could be like um any sort of animation or live action, like people in costumes, you know. It could be anything. And so in 2020, March of 2020, um yeah, March 6th, so kind of like right before pandemic and all of that, um it's Sonic Rebuilt happened, and Sonic Rebuilt was a project made by those same people, except this time as a collaborative effort to do the full English dub movie of Sonic OVA with over 200 artists, a live action, 2D, CG, etc. And so they have the same just audio track playing. It's just that when certain scenes happen, it's just different animation, completely different animation. It's the same amount of time and everything. It's interesting. It definitely shouldn't be your first watch of it. I've watched maybe about half of it and skimmed through the rest. It's interesting. Like that's all I can really say. Like it's cool and it's interesting, but like I don't know if it's worth it to watch it like that at all. Like it's a cool fan project because people really like this film. Sonic fans really like this film, and so they did this, and yeah, that's so what was made, and that's like the most recent Sonic OVA thing besides the whole discotheque saying, "Hey, we're not doing it." Um, but final thoughts. I don't have anything written down here. Um, I don't even know. I already forget. Do we have a review scale? We have a review scale.
We have a we definitely do. We didn't do it for N64 Quest, uh, but it would have been a real high one. So I'll do it for this one. I would give this a 4.5. between a 4 and a 4.5 out of this 5 scale.
Mhm.
And I think it was good. I think they had little flaws. I
Yeah.
think the flaws don't make it a bad film.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's just enough flaws not to be a 5.
Yeah.
So probably I'm gonna probably go with a 4.0. I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
If this had been 2 hours, it would have been less. But I think like that's a pretty fair score for something that this from 1996 too. So
Yeah, definitely. Like if there wasn't any Sarah, if there wasn't any president, if there wasn't any old man, it was just Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Robotnik, Metal Sonic, Hyper Metal Sonic. Um, then this movie would be a 5 all the way.
yeah,
But because it has all these extra characters that I absolutely despise, um, I don't know. I'm in between, but like I don't want to create a new scale. And so I'll agree with you. I'll say a 4. Because I'm more of like a 4.25, right? Like I
yeah.
don't think it deserves a 4.5, but I also don't think it necessarily deserves a 4, but I'm closer to a 4, so I would just say 4.
I
Um
mean, it's a good movie. It's definitely a good movie.
yeah.
I think, and I think people maybe listening or watching, or they might be like, "Oh, four's really low." No, 4 on a 5 scale is pretty good. Unless you're IGN, you don't give out those top scores. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably just upset some people.
4 is an 8 out of 10, you know?
Yeah,
So you're fine. But yeah, I like this movie. I've always enjoyed this movie. But it's also one of those things that like I could watch it a bunch if I really have to. I just have just over the years just because I was a kid when I watched it initially, and then rewatching it for this, rewatching when I got the DVD, rewatched it with some friends. So like I've seen it enough times. I don't think I would necessarily get bored of it, but it is a movie OVA series to where like it's it it's not worth all those watches that I've done. So yeah, I would say it's more of a 4. But what do you think? What do you think, people, audience? If you have seen this movie before, if you've been here this whole time, thank you for being here. Um, yeah, we occasionally talk about video games and stuff like that, but we do talk about movies. We talk about anime. We talk about a bunch of different things. This is a special that's only on YouTube, so we appreciate it if you could give us some love. Let people um, subscribe, comment, do all the fun things there. But you can find us normally bi-weekly on podcast services on Wednesdays, Fridays for the videos, and that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to say, Ben?
just to get at it.
Get at it.